Hi everybody, my name is Sam Durbridge, or as you can tell, Samuel Loomis, newly awakened. Now, why did I name it the way that I did? Well, before I go into that, I wanted to welcome anybody new to the channel. And I appreciate all the support that anybody's willing to do for anybody. And I'm all about prayer and manifesting your desired reality, meditation. Prayer and meditation are basically the same thing. It's just the way that you approach it. There's different forms of types of prayers, like ritualistic and pleading prayers and all sorts of different ones. I do more of an optimistic focus of type of prayer of thought. And if I feel like bringing up a name of some form of peacemaker or type of deity, then that's kind of up to my choice of the decision based on what I feel I should. And I wanted you all to know that regardless how I do anything in my life, I don't expect you or anybody else to do the same. I do hope that there are people out there that can at least understand what I'm about. My new channel here is based on letting people know the story I went through as a ex-Mormon, which is part of which was someone that used to be part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The reason why I call myself an ex-Mormon is just because that's more known. I don't really do it out of really any disrespect. Some may take it that way, but it's not meant to. I do it because there's more people out there that know the name Mormon more than they know the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint name. But there are those that know that, well, that's the religion I chose to leave. Now, I did this for my own purpose and not because I hate any members necessarily or church leaders or anything. I didn't do it because of them. I did it mostly because of how I felt I was becoming and what I learned about what it means to stay in the church. For me at least, based on noticing that I was connected to some projects that agreements were made to put me in, that church is connected with. And I don't want people to go after the leaders or anybody that is considered people I bring up that I felt did things that I didn't really feel happy about, nor do I think that those people are completely evil for those choices. They chose what they felt for them was right. I have my own opinions and awareness of what actually occurred to me, and I care about everybody's feelings as much as possible. And I don't expect my family, friends, or anybody to leave the church and follow my path, or that after I share my story, you should leave. No, you should do what you feel you should do for your life path. I did what I chose because of what I witnessed, and I, in good conscience, all the stuff I witnessed and was affected by, I couldn't stay. There was no way that I felt that I should. I didn't do anything wrong to choose to leave. There wasn't anything that I did that made me feel like I had to run away from it. No, I was still in the understanding of the respect of prayer and the ideas. It was more of, it had to deal with a couple of things. And one of it was because of GMO foods and versus organic food situations that I learned the church was aware of and hiding about. And they made agreements, and I found that out from people that worked for the church and certain individuals that got beat up for telling the truth and standing up for low poverty people and members alike, to help them heal by eating more raw organic foods versus GMO foods. Military has tests on this. There's a lot that I heard from talking to nutritionists, blood doctors. I verified it, triple verified it, quadruple verified it, because I didn't believe it at first. I didn't understand it at first, but I really had no other choice because I was suffering cancer. And the church leaders and others, they didn't really have any advice or feeling. But there was other things that happened to me as well. And I'll go into those stories. Now, before I go into any of those stories, I want to be clear. And I've already talked about some stuff already about why I left the church, but I want to be a little clearer now in this second video. I care about everybody and everything in all faiths, religions, and societies, and races, and species, whatever exists, whatever is out there in the universe and here on this planet, or or reality, or whatever we are. I'm a very open-minded, aware, loving individual, and I care about everybody. I don't say that this person is better than another, because I used to feel that way, and I don't anymore. That's one of the reasons why I left the church, because I was feeling judgmental while I was within that church and thinking certain things that I didn't feel right about feeling. And I was noticing a lot of members have done that. Now, this isn't to get after those members that choose to do that or think. It's just I started to see how it was making me feel. It was making me become toxic, and I noticed that it's happened to a lot of people. But it doesn't mean that there aren't really good members and that there aren't people with good hearts. I really did have a good heart while I was in the church, and every time I tried to do something, I always did what I felt was right, to a degree. And if I did anything that I thought was right and then messed up or made a mistake or didn't realize what I was really doing, or I was confused because I didn't understand, or people misinterpreted me, or I misinterpreted them, that's what was happening to me. I wasn't able to think through my thoughts clearly because I just had to always follow along with what the leaders and others told me. And I never really was able to discern for myself on things, because whenever I did try to discern and bring them up, I was told, no one's perfect, or don't judge, or don't. And I was like, but I'm not. I don't feel like I'm judging here. I'm trying to see what I'm seeing, trying to be better. Well, no one's perfect. It's okay. And so it's kind of their word against your word. And it's like, oh my word. It's like we're all trying to help each other, but everybody has different opinions on the way to help. And so anyway, I'll go into that in my stories. What I wanted to let you be aware of, though, is when I chose to leave, I had to deal with what I found out that confirmed with experiences I dealt with, situations that were strange and weird. And but the most clear I want to be about is I love my parents. I love my family. I love everybody, okay? I don't hate anyone. I love my parents, I love my family, and I care about them in the best that I can, and even more now, ever since I chose to accept who I was instead of trying to prove to them or prove to myself that I was doing what God wanted me to do. I had to find out what my own path was, and that's what I figured out. And me choosing to pull records out and things has to deal with personal decision because of programs connected to the church, that if you're in the church, those programs can affect people like me or others. It doesn't mean they're doing it to everybody, but they can if they wanted to. And it's connected to MK Ultra projects and all sorts of programs connected to government programs, which pretty much Scientology and all belief systems have agreed to. And it's in the public record. You can go to quitmormon.com and it will confirm it. And some of you will be like, oh, I don't want to check quitmormon.com because I don't want to quit the Mormon church. No, this just gives you information of why people are choosing to leave. And it gives you more of an understanding rather than assumptions or your own feeling of discernment why. Let's stop discerning what we think people are leaving for based on presumptions and what you think the Spirit is telling you, and let's actually talk to people that actually are dealing and going through these things and find out from them. But don't judge or think that you know better. But also don't try to get too many details about their sins or their problems. That's another thing. But what I do want to explain is I'm going to bring up something, and I might bring up that recording later on, but it's going to be one of the later recordings. I was going to try to have it with one of the earlier, and maybe I will. But I wanted to mention that my parents are in their late 70s, and they're good people. And something happened to where someone threw a rock into their window. Now, they still belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they fully believe in it and care about it. I do know that something happened at a church building at a family party, but they, to my knowledge, weren't even really involved in it. It was whoever was over the family party, but whatever occurred was an accident in the kitchen, and the church leaders and others came over to correct it, and the fire department, and it's fine. No one got hurt. Nothing happened. It wasn't done purposely, but I feel like there was things that happened during with that situation or that party where it seems like maybe on New Year's Eve that someone chose to use a rock gun or something and throw it at their window, and it seems deliberate. The way my dad described it, he felt that someone did it deliberately, because there's no way it would have came off of a truck and swung it just right at the window like that. And they are up in Layton area. Do you know what? No one, regardless of your belief system, whoever you are, whatever, deserves vandalism when they've done a lot for me individually. Even if we have different opinions and belief systems, my parents still care about me as their son in the way that they've chosen to care or feel they can. And I love them, and I told them that. And I wanted to put this out there because there's many people in the church, and I'm not accusing anybody of this. There's many people that may think that it's not someone in the church or that it's someone outside of the church. And this is to get people to turn against each other that aren't part of the church and that are saying, oh, this side did it. No, this side did it to those people because they hate Mormons or blah, blah, blah. And it just causes a fight. You know what? Vandalism on both sides is wrong. Okay? No matter who it's done to, it's wrong. Now, if the person that did those things did a crime, then tell the authorities or people what the crime was. Don't hide it. Don't do vandalism because you can't prove that they did it. Stand up and let people be aware of what you feel the wrongdoing was. But don't go after them, because going after them could stop them from being able to do more good. If you're upset that they did something that you heard from gossip, and this is another thing. I've heard so much gossip in the church. Many people gossip, and then they hide gossip from me because I always stood up against gossip. And I always told them we shouldn't gossip, even in the church. And then people stopped gossiping around me or started to be all kind. And I've even noticed my own neighbors and my own, where I personally reside, in the apartment complex that I am in. And then even they gossip and say stuff. And some of these people that start the gossiping are members of the church. And I haven't seen people outside of the church gossip as much as I've seen people in the church. In fact, outside of the church, people are more honest and open about their feelings, and they just say stuff flat out because they're not afraid to be irritated or told, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't say that word, or oh, blah, blah, blah. No, we're a little bit more, let them be them. Now, I'm not saying all members do that. I've just seen it more. And I've been in the church and I've been out. And I was in the church for 32 years. Okay? I was born in it. So I know the difference. And now I just got out of it, and I've been out of it for like 2 years or so, off and on a little bit. But earlier this last month in December, I chose to leave. Now, I chose to leave due to what I found out. And I couldn't stand by agreeing to what those things were. Now, I don't know all the reasons why that someone would even agree to those things, why a church would even allow those things to people, which it would contradict their own teachings. And even if they did it from revelation, it's horrible. Because all you have to really do is come together and pray and meditate. Braden Info, Energy Water Studies confirm it now. So regardless of the agreements they made, we can correct and start doing this other now and not have to oblige by those things. But they've already gotten too deep, according to probably what is possible with them. So I feel that I needed to leave because I had the choice to, and maybe a lot of those leaders do not. And so I hope with whatever they can do within their church, they can do what truth requires, just like their Testament movie tells them to do, or is told, and that's inspired, and let people be aware of that, you know? And if you don't know what I mean by truth required, in the Testament movie has to deal with the father telling Jacob, his son, that witnessed a murder or witnessed wrong acts to people, that he must tell the courts, and he never showed up because he was sent away on some kind of thing for his work he was doing. And then his father did what truth required, since the other chose not to. So that's what I do. I believe that I'm not going to hide what I know. I'm not going to ignore or pretend. I'm going to bring up the stories no matter how strange or weird I witness them as or have experienced. I do it from the heart. I try to keep it normalized. I don't try to tell you have to believe or you should. I feel that I was doing that approach before in my book in some form, and hoping, and I was putting a lot of, we got to do it or we're all in trouble. And I was just, because I was frightened by all the things I learned all at once that I was dealing with, and then no one was hearing me out. And I tried to tell bishops, and I tried to tell others, and then they just look at it as, oh, you know, you're a mental patient, or you're this, or oh, that's the devil, and it's just like, you know what? So I had to look into it because I know what I saw wasn't fake, because I didn't believe in making up stories. I did a lot of stories that I did books that were pretend, and I loved pretend stuff, but I never lied to. I kind of got irritated at anybody that I heard, girls and guys, making up stories to get attention. But as soon as I witnessed what I did in 2015, I tried to tell my friends and others, and then they all thought I was making up stories. But I never lied to them before. Never hid that kind of, or made up things like that to them before. So why would they think that I would make up that? Why would they think I was? Because they were taught to think that way in the church. That it doesn't matter, that there's no way that there's other creature or beings or technology, or that God would even allow that. But there's a lot more going on than we've been told or been allowed to understand. And the church knows this. They're aware. A lot of them are professionalism that made agreements to not talk about these things and not bring them up. So I learned a lot about this, and I realized that there is a lot going on with that, but that wasn't the reason. I was suffering cancer and other things, and I'll go into that. And then I was able to cure it by going organic vegan. My choice, my decision. I don't expect you or others to do that. I encourage you to look into research of all sorts, but I talked to nutritionists and natural grocer. Her husband worked in the military. I also learned other things from other people. It wasn't just her, before her, and I confirmed all of this. And because of that, I don't even get a cold anymore. Anything that I get out that sounds like I'm sneezing or coughing is me getting out crap out of me faster, but I don't even get a cold. I don't feel sick. I don't do anything. The only time I would get sick is if I went back to the medicated GMO foods. GMO is genetic modified organism, or genetic mechanics. And military knows, they did studies that GMO foods do get you sick, and the organic foods keep you healthier. But I learned other studies as well. And I react to penicillin, and they basically put penicillin in all meats, medicated cows, everything, and in all eggs and things like that. They do a lot of that, or something equivalent. But regardless, I react to more chemicals and medicine and fluoride and substances, and they're putting fluoride in the water and all this stuff. And I actually looked into it. I asked the health department, water people to test it, and I found out that they had chloroform in it, and they highlighted and all this stuff. And I'm just like, wow. So if you look in the Department of Health for the water and you request it, it will tell you. They'll send it, well, what year was the last test, or when was the last test, and then they'll give you the test results for the last year, what was in the water, and they won't really tell you how it got in the water, who put it in, but it will tell you what's in there. And a lot of it is people putting in there, or it's just there. I just don't worry about any of those things. You can actually get purified water and stay away from plastic and all of that. I'm all about Hydro Flask and all about as much holistic and natural as you can, even containers. But you do what you got to do with what you have, and then go for things. Glass and Hydro Flask containers I'm okay with, just because I noticed that they preserve it better and other benefits. I also get the reverse osmosis type of water that Natural Grocers has. I tried to do well water before, but they're even putting stuff in the well water. Someone is. So the people that control the waters and whatever. And yeah, the water is controlled by Satan in the last days, right, people? No. Honestly, possibly. Maybe not. All we can say is there is beings or people that are controlling it for whatever reason. And so as long as we're aware of what's affecting us and we stay in tune instead of worried and freaking out that we can't do anything, find solutions. That's what I had to do for me. I broke 13 bones my first year of life. I had teachers and people that didn't believe I had a broken bone, and got dragged in 4th grade. I really liked that teacher, but she dragged me not believing that my legs were broken in 4th grade. Out in the out in the recess parking lot area, or grass, whatever. And also, so I had brittle bones, so I had to learn how to work with that. I wasn't able to do a lot of sports. I tried to do some band in junior high, but then it was harder for me to do it because of my physical health. And also in high school, I had the choice to be in a band, and I wanted to go to one high school, and I ended up in another, and was okay with that. But then what happened was they didn't have a band that would go to California. It was their choir that did, so I joined the choir, and then I joined to be a TA so I could go on the choir trip, because all I really wanted to do is to go to Disney World or Disneyland and Disney Park, or do that fun thing. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be part of that group of going on a vacation with other students. That was the reason why I did it. It was pretty cool. So I'm all about focus on desired of life and dreams. And anyway, I realized after I started to notice things over time, I always felt like I was either looked down upon or provided benefits above others because of my disability, and it really hurt me both ways. I just wanted to have someone that wanted me for me, regardless of my disabilities, and it was really difficult growing up in the type of church, because it's like everybody's comparing you to their blessings, and then you're comparing them to your blessings. And for me, I always went for whatever I felt the Spirit wanted me to go for, and I went for all girls, regardless of what type they were, as long as they were in the church or chose to go to church or were honest, and that I felt weren't lying to me, and I listened to their discernment. And I realized that I was judging people wrongly because I was trying to follow what my mom and dad wanted me to do, to respect my mom. I was told, don't kiss a girl until you're 18 or all this stuff. And then I also wanted to be a good person, and then a lot of different stuff. Well, I did a freedom post on Facebook, and you can go look at that. But I wanted to let you be aware that I'm going to do some video here. But I wanted to do this video to let you know that I do care about you. And I wanted to say hi, this is Sam, because I did a slideshow video before. And I figured I'll just do this one because people want to see the real me, right? And I'm also combing my hair backwards now because I heard something, and I don't know if I'll follow it really with this part. Maybe I will. I have different feelings about that. But I was told that if you grow your hair out more or whatever and not cut it or mess with it, you become more in tune because it's letting your body grow the way that it chooses to grow. And that if you just let it, you'll be more in tune, you'll be more inspired. And I thought, that's interesting. That's kind of, people bring that in the scriptures up all the time about Samson and all of those other stuff. And so I heard it from other people that even taught me about going organic. A lot of them don't cut their hair. They grow ponytails and stuff. And I haven't been doing that, but I'm starting to wonder, should I do that? I'm thinking about it, and I have tried to do it before, and it is a little irritating for me to do it. Sometimes it gets in your eyes or different stuff. And sometimes if you grow out this, you can grow stuff underneath it that is annoying. And so I don't know what I'll do, but regardless what I do, I'm going to do it from the heart. And I think I'll be okay either way spiritually, but I'm trying different things out that I'm starting to realize and learning. And I do want to let you be aware that I am a minister, and I got a few things here that I was just going to show you right now, and then I'll end my thing. But before that, I follow the Jedi code, but not quite. I followed in the way that I interpret it in, not in the way others interpret it in, that I feel that I need to use my wisdom and knowledge in. And I follow it. I'm not really necessarily light side or dark, or I can't necessarily say that I've seen myself levitate things or things like that, but I have done some stuff with faith many times in my life, and I've been able to heal with putting lavender oil from a really bad burn that I was boiling water so that I could be able to drink it, because but even boiling water doesn't always get all the chemicals out. But either way, I did what I felt, and then I added other stuff to it so it would be more purified. And I'll bring up different techniques and other videos on that. But I burned it, and then I put this oil on a while back, and then I was able to cure it within 2 days. There was no problem or pain anymore. It was gone. And no scarring either. And it was pretty bad. But I put lavender oil, I did use zinc ointment, and I did use aloe vera gel of stuff, and I used it, and it cleared it up like that within 2 days. And I was impressed because I've never done that with a burn before within 2 days. Usually it was stronger, but it really cured it without having any scar left over. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And so I've done different things, and I also said, be healed, and I talked good thoughts about it. But this is even before I even chose to leave the church too. But I was learning these techniques, and now I can do it even more. I've done it with other issues. I even have left pain. And the reason why is it's not about leaving the church. It's about leaving what is holding you back, that you feel is holding you back or controlling you. And I had to deal with what I felt was going on, that I knew was going on. And after those, pushing it away and doing what I felt I had to do, and then becoming my own minister, I was able to create that. So this is another thing So here's my minister credentials, and it was on this day, the 2nd December, that I chose and realized what I needed to do. Now, I also wanted to let people be aware. This is my vision board I focus on and hope that my reality becomes real as if it's already existent. Right here is the Salt Lake Temple. That was when I was in the church. The book I wrote has information because I was still kind of back and forth about belief, and I didn't want to pull out my records because out of respect for what my mom felt I wanted. But when I found out what happens when you leave it in and what they're allowed to still do to you if you're inactive or whatever, on quitmormon.com, I was like, and what they're doing to others connected to MK projects and all sorts of stuff I found out on my own records and information. And it really made me go, no, I gotta leave, because they're already doing these things to me. I can't be part of it, because the longer I stay in something that I choose not to be part of because of things that they chose to ignore or not listen or understand or be inspired to understand about me, even if they're not perfect, I was doing the right thing, and I was hoping that they would follow by doing the right thing. You don't have to do the right thing if you don't want to. That's what not being perfect is all about. However, you can still do the right thing even if you're not perfect. You don't have to not do the right thing or be afraid, or, oh, well, people are threatening me, so I have to do this because I get death threats all the time, is what others have told me, that the leaders of the church get death threats all the time. So that's why they're not telling or doing these things, or they would be killed. And it's like, you know what? They can still work around that and get people to know what's right if it's the right thing. Why allow others to suffer and you be free and keep suffering going? We want to heal. You can correct that by praying and meditating and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to keep this under 33 minutes. It's almost done. I just wanted to let you know that I do believe in people and I do care. And there's a lot of information I'm going to bring up in new videos, and I'll do a slideshow on it as well, possibly. Or you'll see this video blank with looking at my vision board type stuff behind here, and just kind of there without me there. But what you'll also see is you'll hear some stuff about my stories. So that's what I'm going to do for future. But I'll do one more video of this, me speaking, and then we'll go from there.